there, everyone. Welcome to Jigsaw Parenting, the place where you can find out all the issues that we are going through and struggling through as parents, and hopefully get some answers to some questions that have been burning in your minds. My name is Sumitra Singal. I am the mom to three kids, one high school senior, Jordan, a ninth grader, Tyson, my son, and my youngest one, Charlie, who is in sixth grade, her first year in middle school. Sissy?
Hi, I'm Sissy van Vark. I'm a single mom of two girls, one in elementary school, 10 years old, Danielle, and a college dropout, 20 years old, Gabrielle. And Steven.
Hi, I'm Stephen Bax. I am the widowed father of two boys, Ethan, who's 17 and a senior in high school, and Brian, who's 12 and in sixth grade, with Charlie, actually.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool for us because certain things Stephen and I can definitely relate to one another just because our kids are at the same school.
Yeah.
Anyway, today's topic is about sleepovers. Oh my gosh, I feel like this is one of those topics that people definitely, their opinions about whether or not your kids should sleep over other people's houses and who those other people are is deeply rooted in the way you've been brought up and your background and the way your parents have brought you up. Growing up, it's my sister and myself, and pretty much the only place we didn't have any family, first of all, that lived here in South Florida. We grew up in Miami. We didn't have any immediate family that lived here. All of our family lived in another state, in another country. And the only place I ever really slept over was my best friend's house. And I slept over her house because my mother knew her mother, and we had met at church, and we had known them for many years. And that was really the only reason why it was okay to sleep over their house. You just didn't go sleeping over people's houses. Now, I do remember one time, though, one time when I was, there was a sleepover for a friend's birthday. But you better believe before my mom even allowed it to happen, there was the whole interview that went on between my mom and that girl's mom. And of course, there were only girls there to find out, okay, what all is going to happen? What are the plans? What are the activities? And everything like that. And of course, she had at least already met her mom from before. So, I don't know, Stephen, what was it like when you were growing up? What did your parents do with sleepovers?
I got to say my parents pretty much let us run wild. I'm not kidding. We could basically do what we wanted. I grew up in the same house from when I was a little kid. They're still in the same house now since I was a year and a half old.
Okay.
So it was the same neighborhood kids all the time, pretty much. It was a very stable neighborhood at the time. And we'd sleep over each other's houses. It was never an issue. If our parents only knew some of the things we used to do when we'd stay over their houses. Crazy stuff. Knowing what I know now, my kids don't sleep anywhere. Family.
Wait, so Stephen, is that because of when you say they don't sleep anywhere now because of what you know? Is that just because of what you saw growing up, or is that just because of things in the world now? Like, what makes you say that?
There's a few things that get into that. First of all, I married into a Latin family. Very tight-knit family. The whole dynamic is different than growing up in a white middle-class family in Hollywood Hills. Very different dynamic. We're not my side of the family. We love each other, but we're very different, and we don't hang like my wife's family does. And even though my wife is gone, I spend more time with her family by far. It's not even close than I do with my own side of the family. And we all live within. I'm 10 miles from my family, 3 miles from hers, give or take. They're all right around the same area. I haven't seen my youngest brother in probably a month or so. I might see him this weekend. We'll see. But so the dynamic is very different. But and in my wife's household, you don't stay with other people's kids. Period. It's only family. The only really big fight I can ever remember getting in with my wife was over allowing my oldest to sleep next door. Literally, the house right next door. I'm looking at the house right now, and I said that he could do it. I put my foot down, and he stayed over there, and she was angry about it. And we found out much later that the caretakers, it was a unique situation over there, but there were some older folks to take care of the kids. They were a hot mess. Our kids never should have been over there. And if I knew then what I know now, I never would have done it. It's never come up again. The kids never ask, and I never volunteer it. I have had parents of other kids ask, and I'm sorry, we don't do that.
Right.
And we just leave it at that. And the kids have never had a problem with that. They've stayed at family members many, many times. Sometimes my kids stay over, take care of my parents for the weekend. And they love doing that. But other than that, they're not sleeping over. My oldest is about to go to college, so that's not even an issue anymore after that. And the youngest one,
I was going to say that's interesting, Stephen, because my youngest one has asked many times to sleep over people's houses, and I don't even go and discuss that with my husband to ask his viewpoint. My immediate reaction is, no, you're not going to sleep over people's houses. I don't know them, because I look at it like, okay, maybe I know them, but do I really know them? They just. The saying goes, you don't know people until you live with them. And a lot of people can come off, parents can come off, kids can come off a certain way, give you you feel like everything seems copacetic, everything feels good. And when you dig a little deeper, or as you get to know them a little bit more, you're like, no, I'm good. Don't want my kids a part of this. And I just feel like, I guess rather than taking that chance, just because so many things are going on and have been going on, not recently, but just period, that I'm not okay. You all can do whatever you want together during the day. You do not need to sleep over there. I don't know. What do you think, Sissy?
I feel the same way. But like you, I was brought up not sleeping over, only family members, and then not even my aunt or an uncle. No, my grandma, where you couldn't do anything, just sit, watch TV, and that's about it. And growing older, I had one best friend, but my mom knew her mom for years, knew her grandmother, so like almost family. Then I could stay with her, and she would come up and stay with me, but like I could count the big times on my hand. It was a really rare occasion when it would happen. So my kids, they're brought up the same way. They cannot sleep over. I don't want them to, and they'll get into big discussions because here it's obviously no isn't no here. In Europe, kids are brought up being very discussing about everything. Why not? You should explain it to me. I want to talk about it. Under what circumstances can it happen? Anyway, they'll go to large lengths to get it done. So, and I'm like, now until if you can go there and come back home safely on your own, if you're at that age that you don't feel all right, you're not safe for whatever reason, you get into a fight with your friend and you're able to get home all by yourself, then you can sleep over. So not until then. So if you're still younger and I have to take you there and I have to communicate with the parents, no, it's not happening. So right now I'm with discussions. I'm so far that everyone can sleep over at my place.
Oh my gosh.
But I won't let my kids go. So they can come here. And the same way, I really have to know their mom. So my daughter, my youngest one, Daniela, has one friend. And they've been friends for 6 years, since they were 4 years old. So now I feel confident. I know her mom well enough. So she's come over to sleep at our house, but my daughter hasn't gone back yet. So I'm guilty of that part. I'll admit it. but that's how I feel. It's like the middle ground. If you want slumber party, sleeping over, let your friends come. I can get to know them. I can get to know their parents. But you going there, no. Until you cannot come home all by yourself when you don't like having a fight or whatever they're serving, or for whatever reason you don't feel comfortable enough that I should come get you, no, then you can't stay. No, no sleeping over. No.
And my little one, she's asked so many times about sleeping over. And I'm sure she may hear of other friends sleeping over houses. And I think that's one of the things that kind of irks me the most, is because they talk to their other friends and they're like, oh, well, I did this and I did that. And then they come to you and they want to ask, well, why can't I do it? And you're thinking like, because I said so, okay? Why are we having this conversation? I'm the parent. I said that you can't do this. And you really can't always get into all the reasons why, but the fact is stuff happens, and stuff can even happen with family members. So it can happen with family members. Who's this random person that you're friends with for me to feel okay with them? So I'm definitely not big on that. My oldest daughter, Jordan, has slept over a couple of friends' houses, but one of them has been a friend that she was my friend first, and then our daughters became friends.
Oh, wow.
And our friendship has continued over the years, so I'm totally comfortable with it. In fact, she wanted to make sure that when she had that sleepover, that she let parents know, okay, I'm going to be here, my sister's going to be here, and that's it. There will be no one else here. But, she made sure, I guess, any concerns that she might have had with her own daughter sleeping over someplace, she addressed that with all the parents ahead of time. And I think, and then there was another friend also, but again, it was the same thing. I had known the mom, not as well, but of course I was there with the whole rundown. She was telling me what they were going to do and where they were sleeping and all this stuff, because you just don't know. And you just can't take those chances, I feel like, with your kids.
I think the closest I've come to it is, but I was there, is camping out in the Everglades when we went with the group. And you got a whole bunch of kids in a tent. And that's the closest but I'm in the next tent. So, not a big deal. I'm right there. And it was a school-sponsored trip. For that, I get it. Letting them go off to in middle school and elementary school, they go off on their field trips to, in middle school is usually New York, Philly, and Washington.
Okay.
And in fifth grade, they go to St. Augustine. That's an overnight trip. So they do go with that, school sponsored. That's the closest to a sleepover that we ever do. And that's grown.
And Stephen, I don't know that I'd be okay even with that in elementary school level with the sleeping over, even as at a school sponsored trip, because then who are they in the room with? I don't know.
That was the St. Augustine trip. They didn't do that.
Mine didn't. Didn't. I know the trip came up, but I said, absolutely not. You're not going, Charlie. I didn't feel comfortable with it because I wasn't going. And I
had to talk my wife into it with Ethan.
Okay.
Talk her into that. And it went really well. And, they really do keep an eye on them. And I've been doing trips with that, with high school students, ninth graders for years when I worked with the University of Florida. Yes, I'm a Seminole that worked with the Gators. For 12 years, though, I took kids up there multiple times a year. I was their liaison. UF was paying me to do that. And so we had to, so I knew what went on. I knew how the chaperone system works. They did not get to pick their roommates. And I've taken students to Europe as well, where they have to share rooms with kids they don't know from different parts of the country. And for that, I'm there for that. And I know that there's responsible people in charge with the other trips.
Stephen, I think I'm okay though with that idea of the high schoolers. I guess elementary, I feel like the kids are younger, and I don't know.
Well, they had the middle school trips.
They have school trips here. Like the final elementary school year, they have school trips, and it's just a weekend. It's just a weekend, and they have like the first day or the second as a scavenger hunt, and they'll ask the parents to come over. You can just say, well, I'll join, but my kids, they were allowed to go because it's a school trip, and I
Okay.
wouldn't want to take that away from them. It's
Right.
like something that builds character. Going away, it's just a weekend. But my both my girls are like, no, you're not applying for the scavenger hunt. This is my time. You're not coming because I'm not allowed to go anywhere without you. So this is my time. I want to be there, not knowing my mom will be there in the bushes. So
They actually ban the parents from going on our trips.
You said they
really,
keep the parents from going?
Parents are not allowed to go.
Okay, so I did hear that. I have heard that the parents aren't going. Definitely, they're never in the. I have heard of other trips where parents can go as chaperones, but never in the rooms with the kids. There's never an adult in the room with the kids
Exactly.
whatsoever. So I have, and I thought, okay, that sounds good. But I guess when that St. Augustine trip that you're talking about came up, I wanted to say it was like third grade.
I think it was fourth grade.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay, maybe fourth grade. I guess I still wasn't okay with it. I think had it been like that last year in elementary school, fifth grade, I think might have been okay, felt more comfortable with it. Because at that point, she would have been at least one more year older. And that would have given me an opportunity just to, I guess, know more parents. And we didn't go to that. My kids didn't go to that school from the beginning.
Right.
My daughter started their second grade. So I felt like by fourth grade, I barely knew, some parents.
Yeah.
And I think I wasn't okay with it. I think maybe if I would have started from kindergarten there with her and got to know parents, maybe by the time the trip came around fourth grade, I might have felt more comfortable.
So she didn't do the middle school trips either then?
Well, this is the little one who's just in her first year of middle school. And then, so yes, actually, you're right. The oldest one didn't get to that middle school until it was the 8th grade year. So she definitely didn't do that trip because I knew no one at the school. And I would send her off to Philadelphia, New York, DC, or any place like that.
Yeah, so what they do,
one.
They actually rotate every year. They go to New York, Philly, and Washington, D.C., each grade level, and they go for a few days. And they do it every year. Now, obviously, they didn't do it last year or this year, but they would do it every year. And I knew the teachers that were running it, and I had no problem with them doing it. In fact, I was late to the airport and almost missed his flight. His 8th grade, he said, "Dad, why are you always late for my stuff?" and he was right in that, but that's fair enough. But it's funny, we let them go on these foreign trips with these or these out of town trips with these kids, and even St. Augustine, that's 400 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're looking at 1,500 miles away with New York and DC and all that. And yet staying with the neighbor kids, I'm not okay with.
No.
Well, I'll tell you,
it's kind of weird. True.
Yeah. But they do weed out
oldest,
the bad kids to some extent. They will not let the troublesome kids, but sometimes they're not the ones you got to worry about.
That is true. That is true. It's the ones sometimes that you think there are no problems with, and they go on these trips, and then you hear of some crazy stories. Now, I will say in high school, my daughter's gone on several overnight trips through the school, and I haven't had any problems even contemplating on sending her.
Right.
She's done the college tour, the camping trip, competition trips, and I haven't had a problem. And I think one of the reasons is just her as a person.
Right.
Yeah.
Like how I know how she is, and also her age. And, I knew, okay, this is the person that's running the trip. And just like you said, Stephen, I had, since I knew who was running things and I felt okay with that, I've been totally okay with her going out of town on trips the entire high school time without a problem.
Maybe it's because there's a how can you say? I mean, it's structured, but there's an actual goal in mind. There's something, we're just going to go hang out.
Right.
That idleness scares me a bit, I think. Whereas they actually have an objective when they're going on these trips and the schedule.
Yeah.
And they got to stay on it.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. Because it's not a, hey, we're just going to go hang out. Kind of like there's no, it's an aimless thing. Yeah, it's to have fun, but I think you're right. When there's more structure and there is a definitive goal in mind and there's a schedule, it really minimizes the amount of time that you're going to potentially get into something that you shouldn't. Let's say.
Yeah. Yep. When with a sleepover, it's like the game is on. We can do whatever we want. So that's a huge difference. Yes.
Yeah, they don't need that kind of freedom.
No. Listen, they can have all the freedom when they leave the house.
There you go.
You all can do whatever you want.
That's how to deal with the consequences of there,
Exactly. Right now, all the consequences are still my problem.
Exactly.
They're going to be looking at you. Who's your mom? Who brought you up?
Right. For sure.
All right.
Well, this has been great. Great topic today. We're going to wrap up with a kind of current issue that popped up for one of our members. Stephen, you want to talk a little bit about what's been going on with you lately?
Well, my car's been giving me some trouble, and I'm thinking about getting rid of it anyway, but it needed some work. Customer service and interaction is a big thing when we're isolated so much. So I went to the dealership to get the car fixed. They'd ordered the part. It was to be put in there. I got there at 9 a.m., had my coffee. So you know what? It's going to be a while. I walked. The mall's a mile and a half away. I walked to the mall, did some shopping, came back. It's 4:00, and they say it's not going to be done today. And they had to order another part, and it wouldn't be here till Tuesday. And I'm like, well, okay. He says, you've been the most patient customer I've had. He said, I've had people yelling at me all day. I'm giving you a car till Tuesday. Gave me a brand new car. I took it home. I've got it in my driveway right now. And, nothing fancy, but, I think sometimes you get more, what do they say? You get more bees with honey than vinegar. And, treat them the way you want to be treated, and they'll treat you right. And that was the case here. I could have yelled at them, screamed at them, and I know some people that would have. But where would it get me? There wouldn't be any point to it. I think teaching has given me a bit of patience.
A bit.
A bit, yeah. You have to be diplomatic with parents and kids. I don't yell in the classroom, so why am I going to yell at customer service? Is it going to get the part in the mail there any quicker? It's not. So, and it got me a car. I like that.
You know what? And I definitely agree with what you're saying. You do get more, what is it? You attract more bees with the honey.
And vinegar, yeah.
Yeah, because listen, we all get frustrated, and sometimes that's our reaction. We want to go off the handle and we want to complain. But a lot of things are outside of the person that you're actually dealing with. It's outside of their control. They just happen to be the face or, the medium that you must deal with. And a lot of times, at least if it's within their capability, I find that people will try and work with you and will try and sometimes offer you something for your inconvenience if you at least are understanding. And like you said, in this kind of situation that we're all living in a pandemic where there's so many things going on, you got to be patient. What are you going to do? It's not going to solve the problem, and everybody's going to be upset when it's all said and done.
And then you're looking at, the dealership is actually in another city.
Oh.
So, if I were to Uber at home, it would be expensive. It was up in Sunrise, and I live in Pembroke Pines, and that's quite a bit of a distance between the two. I do have a car at home, but it's a 2-seater. I can't throw my kid in the trunk. So, so I did have to have a full.
But really, can't you put the kid in the trunk?
I need to do some origami. But I'll probably get rid of the car that's at the dealership eventually. I want to get another pickup truck. That's a very American thing, I know. But pickup trucks are synonymous. It's a manly thing. I don't know. But no, I like to go to the Home Depot or the Lowe's and pick up a bunch of. I'm going to be working in the yard later today. I want to throw some soil and plants. I don't want that in my car. Throw it back out of the truck, hose it out, good. And so plus I like to go kayaking. I can't throw my kayak into the back.
You can't put that in the car.
The truck. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get myself another a nice Ford F-150 pickup truck. Not jacked up or anything, but nice. It's I got the model in mind. I'm not buying new. They're ridiculous. $60,000 for a new truck. Yeah, that's what a new one costs. So, I've got to get one. And people are, well, what about the gas? Gas is cheap. Okay, gas is cheap down here, and my other car gets 30 miles to the gallon, so I use that most of the time. So, anyway. Been a good week, and that was a good way to start vacation.
Yeah. Definitely. Nice way to start it off.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this was today's episode of Jigsaw Parenting. We want to thank you for joining us. Sumitra Singal,
Stephen Bax,
and Sissy van Vark.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you at the next episode. Have a great day, guys.
Bye-bye.